Shabbat Shalom Aleichem, and welcome to the citizens of Yahweh Media. The Tefillah, the Lord's Prayer in Hebrew. Avanu, Sabat Samaim, Yikar Deh Shemeraka, Tavo Maku Teasa, Hazer Razonka, Kesavan Mayan, Cain Baretz, Elaku Kakanu, Tamla Nuhayon, O Slaklanu, Oko Tevanu, Gimo Shosokin, Gamanakanu, Lako Tehimlanu, Vel Tevanu, Leda Nisayon, Kim Kasanu, Memara, Kilaka, Hamamlaha, Viogivara, Vioteferet, Leolamim, Selah. Praise YHWH, Yahweh, and praise YHWH, Beit Num Sofit YHWH, Yahweh ben Yahweh. I am Yaakov ben El Shabak, Yahweh, living parallel of Jacob in the Bible. Genesis 32 and 30. Genesis to Malachi is a multiverse time now, and is the story of the so-called Black American who is true Yisrael of the Bible in New Jerusalem, USA. Jerusalem, Jerusalem. This particular video is a long-awaited one, in which you will witness the power, glory, and intellect of YHWH, Beit Num Sofit YHWH. I will be stopping the video at various points to discuss then, the here, and now, without further ado.
Good morning. Welcome again to Newswatch. I'm Michael Putney. The YAHWEHs, are they a dangerous, racist cult or a genuine religion deserving of every constitution?
Right off the bat, you bring a people in chains to this country, treat them evil for 400 years, and when they speak out about that, you call them racist. That's the ultimate projection.
Constitutional protection. Our community has been asking that question in recent months. This morning, we're going to ask the group's founder and leader, Moses Israel, Yahweh ben Yahweh. He was born 52 years ago in Enid, Oklahoma, and raised in the fundamentalist Pentecostal church. Under the name Hulan Mitchell, he holds a master's degree in economics from Atlanta University. Also joining us for this morning, this discussion, is Dr. Marvin Dunn, a well-known psychologist, school administrator, and civic activist. And also with us is my friend and colleague here at News 4, Ed Odell, who has covered many stories involving the YAHWEHs. Gentlemen, good morning. Thank you all for coming.
It's going to be the Messiah versus two KOON dollar signs and a heathen. He's going to destroy all three of them.
Yahweh ben Yahweh, you have been asked numerous times in recent years to submit to interviews, so let me begin by saying we're glad you're here, but we're a little surprised. Why did you agree to this interview?
First, I'd like to say that this is an exciting opportunity to present our views to the public, which have been misunderstood, and we would like to thank Channel 4 for this opportunity to express the truth. Our attorney, Ellis Rubin, suggested to us that we become open to allow the press, the community at large, to understand exactly what we're about. It's a known fact that what people don't know about and that seems to be shrouded in secrecy, they fear. So to erase some of those fears, we're here to let the broader community know exactly who we are.
All right. Ignorance breeds fear, suspicion, misunderstanding. So you're here to clear up some of those misunderstandings. What, in your view, is probably some of the greatest misunderstandings? Are you a dangerous, racist cult? Do you hate white people?
All right. That has been one of the general accusations. No, that's not the situation. What we are in opposition to is oppression and immorality. I teach and have taught from the beginning that Satan, the devil, Lucifer, was black. As a result, that part of my teaching is not printed or published or talked about. I teach that the devil is in all colors, black, brown, red, yellow, and white. And since we are brought to America as slaves in this country, and since we have been oppressed by white people in this country, it is those that are white that are oppressing us that are immoral. That's the issue. My teachings basically include morality versus immorality, as opposed to racial hatred. If you are familiar with this area, you will notice that the only real problems we've ever had in this community are from people who came among us who were black.
Black devils.
Whose skin color is black. And they're the ones who have gone out into the public and spread false rumors and false teachings about us.
All right, let me broaden this discussion now and bring in my friend and colleague Ed Odell. Ed?
YAHWEH ben YAHWEH, your early pamphlets, the early things that you passed around Liberty City where I happen to live, spoke only to the white devil, that person of that color who seemed to be doing wrong against black people. I know that you have spoken against some black people as they have abused the black race, but those early pamphlets, those early etchings that we saw on the walls out in Liberty City spoke of the white devil. Don't you think that's where that misconception, as you call it, came from?
That's entirely possible, because the issue of black and white and the skin color game is not something that I invented or created.
Praise Yahweh.
It's something that exists in this country, and I've had to address it. For example, there's an issue here that I think most of the people may be aware of. Here is an image that is a false image. And of course, my coming to America to reach and resurrect my people is to dispel this notion of a false image of the Son of God. It's quite apparent that my color...
The false image is the color. Is that what you're referring to?
Exactly. By this color being promoted as the Son of God and being a false image, then this causes my people to have the notion that white people are supreme, they're superior, they're a God, and they have a tendency to worship them as God. And I'm here to dispel that notion.
Yeah, it hasn't.
Study Revelations 1:13 through 15. Facts.
The call against that color, against the white color, hasn't that been the call that has brought most of your people, especially in the early days, into the YAHWEH faith?
It was necessary. When you come to a mentally and spiritually dead people who have been robbed of the knowledge of their God, history, culture, language, name, land, it requires a great deal of dexterity to reach into the grave of such a people and resurrect them and lift them up. No one has ever been able to do this but me. I'm the only one.
You are speaking, if I may say so.
Facts. That's why he is the Son of Yahweh, because no one else has been able to do it. Instead of hating, study the founder and Messiah of the nation of Yahweh.
As if you are the Messiah. Do you believe that you are the Son of God?
I am, in fact, YAHWEH ben YAHWEH in Hebrew. That means God, the Son of God in the flesh. I am the Messiah that the whole world is looking for.
When did you discover that you are a divine creature then?
I've always known that I'm a divine creature. I've known since the age of 3. My demonstrations from age 3 was centered around deliverance. Moses in Pharaoh in Egypt. So I've always known that I'm divine.
Praise
Dr.
Yahweh.
Marvin Dunn, I know many things have been said here that you are just bursting to ask some questions about. Let me turn to you.
Yeah, first of all, I want to pick up on Ed's point. When the YAHWEHs were first brought to my attention some years ago, the thing that I found particularly offensive was what I read and interpreted rather clearly to be, frankly, anti-white hatred.
Okay, you're more offended by someone who is speaking out and giving back what's issued to them. So it bothers you more that someone is speaking negative about the people who created the whole problem of racism, hatred against someone because of their skin color. That bothered you more than the people who originated it against your own tribe. You see where this is going?
And I was offended by that, and I think many people in our community were. But let me tell you what I like about the YAHWEHs and as well. And I've said this on other occasions. I think that this organization has done and is doing what many social scientists, such as myself, psychologists, and others, have not been able to do in many, many years of trying. And that is to turn the lives of at least some people who may have come to them destitute, down and out, having given up on life, and having given them a purpose for living. That's a very, very major accomplishment, and credit ought to be given where credit is due. What the organization has done that I find offensive is to imbue in people a sense of I think, hatred.
They
And
keep focusing on
disrespect for others, and particularly in Miami, I think that's a problem. The other point that I would make in response to Yahweh Ben Yahweh's comment is that I don't think that blacks in America we have our problems, but I'm not sure that we were in the spiritual grave requiring uplifting by someone.
And love of
Although this
churchianity
is a fairly common kind of
is in the
thing to
spiritual
hear
grave.
from cult leaders, and that's not an offense to Yahweh Ben Yahweh or his group. Christianity started out as a cult with people being prosecuted because they were
There you
members
go.
of it. But I don't agree that blacks were in need of the type of deliverance that Yahweh Ben Yahweh believes that they have been in
All
need
right,
of.
let me ask you then. Dr. Dunn is saying you have helped some people recover their lives, you've given them purpose to their lives, and yet he is saying some of your writings, and in fact I would tend to agree, some of your writings seem to say they have recovered their lives at the expense of a more generous belief in white people or some other people as a whole. What is your response to that?
Well, first, we're not a down and out group in terms of those who have come to me. You will find that they were not destitute. We have a huge number of professional people, school teachers, we have doctors, lawyers. Everything that makes up for the structure of America are part of our group. I have not attracted the drug addict, the dope pusher, the alcoholic, and that constitutes my group, or prisoners from prison. On the issue of hate, it's impossible to teach anyone hate. The people that constitute the so-called black community are already frustrated and have already exhibited their hatred for oppression via riots and other elements of intimidation in this society.
Well, I guess the question, if I may interrupt, is, but do you further their own bitterness or hatred? Now, let me read you something that you allegedly said. The Miami Herald reported that you had said, and I'm quoting, Yahweh gave our white enemies 6,000 years to rule good or bad. Their history proves them evil, wicked, liars, and murderers. This white man and his tricks must be removed. What?
He's talking about the leaders of the dominant society who is doing this. He's not talking about every single member of their race. They know this, but they're trying to project and change and twist the truth. Not all no people is bad. Not all white people, not all black people, not all Asian people, not all Hispanic people. But the point, those who are doing that to us, he is calling them out. And that's the whole point.
Not hatred is that, if that's accurate.
All right, first of all, I have to say again that it's impossible for me to teach my followers and disciples hatred. You will find that by attracting this group with a statement like that, and then to see my results, the last 7 years of results of my people, my disciples, among the society in general, you'll find is pure peace. We get along amicably with all nations, all races, including white people. Our business in general is with white people. And I'm sure all of the accolades from those that do business with us would tell you that we're a wonderful group of people. We're not as that statement might appear. The reality of the statement is that we are an oppressed people. We have to face that reality.
You mean we as black people?
We as so-called black people in America have a history of slavery. And let me give it to you this way. When America teaches 1776 and fighting the war to free themselves from England, and this is taught in the public schools, it's not called hatred, it's called history. When in the public schools we learn about the Alamo, remember the Alamo, and there are movies coming up this week about that. It's not declared hatred, it's called history. You come right on through the wars, World War I, World War II, the Korean War. All of these things, they show these movies of death and destruction. They say, remember Pearl Harbor. Never once is it declared hatred. And the last point on this is, when the Jews speak of the Holocaust, and we're reminded of it every year, no one says that that's hatred. It's saying, remember, so that it can never happen again. And I declare that I have the same right under the Constitution in teaching the history of our people as all other groups teach theirs.
And I don't think anyone would deny you that right, and this country has had a long and shameful history of slavery, and if you were simply reminding your followers of some dates in which black people were brought here in ships and were enslaved, I don't think anyone denies you that right. I think that the real question is, are you perpetuating racial hatred with your teachings?
I think my disciples illustrate whether I am or not, and their lives and demonstrations within the community prove that is not so.
Yes.
Ben YAHWH, I have to differ with you, and I agree with Dr. Dunn that...
Praise YHWH, and praise YHWH, Beit Nun Sofit YHWH. What I'm going to have to do is stop this video and make it a part one and do different segments because of the storage and because I want everyone to get a proper understanding of this video. And I want to make sure that it's done in smaller segments so people's attention span will not be swayed. So this is part one of the video, and part two will be coming shortly. Hallelujah, YAHWH. Hallelujah, YAHWH, Ben YAHWH. Selah.